Today's marketing world has more tools and capabilities than ever before, but the shocking truth is that a lot of this is actually holding you back. In this video, we're going to talk about exactly what's going on in modern marketing today, the problems that are happening because of it, and how we're going to solve it. So let's dive in. Hey everyone, I'm Dan Saavedra from Merger Data, and we are on day 43 of 90 of the 90-day YouTube sprint on signal analytics. And today we are going to be talking about how a lot of modern marketing is actually over engineering. Today we have more tools, more capabilities than ever before, and the reality is that a lot of it is incredibly distracting and actually has a negative return on our investments. And therefore, there are different things that we should be doing. And so today in marketing, you have all these new things that have popped up with software behind them and with venture capital firms fueling these software companies to create these tools, create marketing materials around them, and make sure that you buy and feel like they are critical to everything you do in marketing. But in reality, for a lot of companies, these tools are not worth the time. They're over engineering, they're an over investment in the resources needed to make them work. And it's just not something that should be focused on. So some of the things that have been hot recently are things like attribution driven marketing, ABM, CDPs, customer data platforms, MarTech subscriptions in general. So any type of marketing technology, subscription bundles that you can come up with. And so in today's world of marketing, there have been things that have been cycling through LinkedIn feeds, news cycles, blog posts, agencies, whatever you want to name. And these have been hot. These have been what everyone has been talking about. We're talking about things like attribution-driven marketing, right? Complex attribution systems to then drive what type of marketing and what messaging you're doing going forward. ABM, account-based marketing, CDPs, customer data platforms, hyper-personalization stacks based off of AI and connecting all these tools, dark social, CRO tools, conversion rate optimization tools, identity resolution, product-led growth, partner-led, inbound-led outbound, cold outbound, whatever it may be. These have all been talked about endlessly on tons of platforms. And while sometimes they may provide an edge for the majority of companies that we've interacted with, the reality is that it's entirely over-engineered. A lot of the companies that do have success with these types of approaches and these types of tools have someone who's really talented in-house who basically drives the entire initiative, everything from the technical setup to executing the actual plan. And so it can work. And for some people, they do find that edge. But for a lot of people, we just see this as the next mousetrap. They hear other people are doing it. They jump in, they hire expensive consultants and agencies to keep up with everything that's been going on. But in reality, it's just the newest mousetrap. And then in a year, when they don't see an amazing return immediately, they're churning to the next hot thing, right? And so this is all this is. We're just playing the mousetrap game. None of this is what we should be focusing on for the majority of companies because it is just over engineering the marketing process. And so this might be you right now. You might be tied to one of these software companies. You might have seen results or think you have seen results with some of these approaches or tools or topics. And that's very possible. But with the data that we look at with our clients, even people who think that they're seeing great return on these initiatives are actually not when you start connecting all the data together and understanding the unit economics that are going on. So you might be yelling, "Get him!" Or that I'm an idiot and burn me at the stake. And that's fine. It's just the data that we see. We talk about it. And this is how I feel right now. This is a SpongeBob clip.
Let's throw peanuts at him and see how he likes it.
I get what I deserve.
And so that's how I feel right now. You're throwing peanuts at me, but, I'm going to eat them. I feel like I deserve it. I'm going to turn this back on you. And so the reality is that for the majority of companies, you need to do the fundamentals well. Even if you have had partial success with those other hot topics, tools, methodologies, most people are leaving significant portions of closed won revenue on the table because they don't actually understand the fundamentals well. They might do inbound led outbound. They might do PLG. They might do account-based marketing. They might have the hottest attribution tool. They might have intent-based data, whatever it might be, but they still don't understand these three things. And so when it comes down to it, they're really just getting lucky, right? The clock or a broken clock strikes the correct time twice a day or something like that. I got the quote wrong there. But just because you see success with some of these methods at a high level doesn't mean that underneath everything is going to be correct. Everything is going to work out in the long run and that you're actually even getting a return. You're just looking at the top level, right? So instead, you need to know your ICP inside and out, know their pain points, know what they think about, know what problems they face within their organization from a personal standpoint, everything that goes into knowing your ICP. Then you also need to understand the basic unit economics of your business. And this is the biggest one that we see missed, even when people are like, we're doing great. PLG's working. And then when we break it down and actually see how PLG has been working, you see that their CAC payback period is, 4-5 years. Or that they're just everything's negative overall and they're just burning money. They're not actually making any money and they're not going to be in business for very long unless they keep raising, which we know is very difficult in today's market. 3, know your value prop and its fit in the market. Some people know their value prop, but don't know how it fits into the market. Some people know their market very well, but actually can't communicate the value prop very well. So this was us for a long time, right? We either knew our value prop and didn't know how it fits in the market, or we knew how we fit in the market with our skill set, but didn't have a value prop that goes with it, right? So these are fundamental things that you need to do well, rather than focusing on the next new mousetrap. Everything else is just over-engineered. Why are you over-engineering something when you know you have the foundation laid for your bridge, right? Like you're trying to build a bridge on floating docks instead of actually trying to, I'm not going to carry that analogy any further. I don't know anything about building bridges, but you need to know the fundamentals well. 2, simpler is better. A lot of times, if you can just look at the data that's already in whatever CRM you use, Google Analytics, manually collected data, a lot of companies don't even do that analysis in the first place. They're just kind of shooting into the dark there when it comes to marketing and sales. And so if you keep it simple, but still use data and still use your existing tools, you can get very far. Just because the exercise itself is what helps you understand these fundamentals better, right? Even if you don't get these 100% correct, just going through the process is the important part. 3, a lot of things we mentioned go into too much detail and the ROI is poor. You can have information overload. You can focus too much on things that truly just don't matter. Going into all those different approaches, you can spend all this time trying to train people, change processes, set up tools, hire consultants, hire technical talent. The list goes on. And then when you actually add up all of the investment that's gone into that and the disruption it's caused inside of your organization, you'll see there is no return. You have a negative return on investment. 4, no, this isn't true for every single company. Oh, what about me? 98% of you, it is true. It's just the data that we see, right? For the other 2%, it's still partially true. You can still get better at the fundamentals. It's always the case. If you watch a lot of sports, ultimately the most successful people inside of a sport do the fundamentals really, 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 really well. And yes, they can then get fancy if they want to, but what carries them to success is the fundamentals of their game. And so it's true for companies as well. You need to know the fundamentals. You need to be great at the fundamentals. And for 98% of you, you're missing out on the fundamentals entirely. You're still in the minor leagues. You're still in collegiate or high school level, if we're doing the sports analogy further. And so a great way to simplify all of this and focus on the fundamentals is using signals. And this is the entire series, right? Using signals, you can simplify to a few small signals, a few small data points that tell you which direction to head and how successful you're being. And so these signals are made up of 4 different things that we've gone over many times: attribution, unit economics, dimensional data, and conversion optimization. And when you combine all of those things into a single data point, you get a signal. So data plus action plus result equals signal. So we want to make sure that all the data points added together with the action that was taken with them and the result that came about We want to add all these things together. We get our signal. We can see how strong it is, whether it's positive or negative. It's as simple as that. Pareto principle, keep it simple. Look for 20% of the data points that lead to 80% of the results, or even better, the 4% that leads to the 64%. Find out what's working. Find out if you've tapped out that specific approach that you've taken. A lot of people have not. And so if you find out which signals are your most successful, who they apply to, and when you can see these signals occurring, then you can double down on that and lead to even bigger pie size for those results. And so you end up just growing way faster than you would have if you're just trying to find multiple data points and multiple approaches at work. You just need to find the one or two things that really work well and make sure that you tap them out. And then once you tap them out, you can start experimenting again. But for most companies, especially the ones that we deal with, B2B, they're not over 20 million a year. Sometimes they are, but for the most part, they're not. And so you have a lot of room to grow in what's working. And you can even do this at a larger company with high revenue amounts where you might have tapped out a specific market, because you can segment different parts of the business so that they act more like a small business, right? You can look at a revenue stream, whether it's a product or service, that is grossing somewhere between 1 and 20 million. Can be a narrower band than that, but 1 in 20 million. And then you can specifically do your analysis like that was an independent business. And so you can still get this stuff to work. My thoughts, engineering is fun. I used to be one. That was my background. I was a data guy. I'm a recovering tech addict. I understand how easy it is to think tech and complicated solutions will solve everything, but the truth is boring. And so you go through this arc, and I've gone through this arc myself. And so where are you in this? Just because something is complicated and can do a bunch of measurements, number one, doesn't mean it's accurate, but number two, doesn't even mean it's worth it in the first place. A lot of time, the simplest things will get you the furthest, the monotonous, the repetitive. And so it's okay to over-engineer every once in a while as you learn, but you do have to take a step back and understand that it always comes back to the fundamentals. You can see the fundamentals from a new perspective. If you go through that over-engineering phase, you can see that simplicity is actually beauty and simplicity is effective. So you do have to take that journey. But overall, a lot of marketing is over-engineering. Keep it simple. And this is one of the examples we've used in the past with our approach that we take with signals. There are multiple things that we do step by step to boost revenue. And a lot of times they happen in parallel. One of these things is focusing on a couple big signals, finding out exactly what works. And you can see on the left-hand side, these are the number of won deals. On the right-hand side, it's the number of created deals. And what we're looking at here is when we deployed our solution. And so you had doubling of deals close in one quarter, and then you didn't have a doubling of created deals. And so you can see that they're closing way more people because they're understanding their prospects better, because they're using big signals. And so that's what you get. Take one action. Please share this in a company chat. We're seeing really great numbers around this. And so we appreciate you guys helping get the message out to other people about everything that you can do with signals and all of the things you can bring to your organization that will help you grow. Next video, we're going to do a thing, maybe not on this one, this next one. We're going to switch up the format in a couple videos here, and we're going to do a little like live drawing one, so you can see how bad my drawing and handwriting is, but a little less static, a little less formal, so that we can break out of the bounds of this presentation type approach. As always, subscribe on YouTube or via the link in the description. If you do the link in the description, you get the Signal Constructor tool. We get great feedback on it all the time. It helps you build out the exact signals for your organization to use, the actions to take, the criteria that has to be met. And so it's something great that can be used within your company to make sure everyone's aligned around this new signals initiative. I'm Dan Saavedra from Merge Data. Thanks for watching. As always, go to our website, book a call with our team. We can get that growth for your business as well. So we'd love to have a chat. Talk to you guys later.